Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to go follow on my Twitch, please. Here you will never miss out on daily payday content. LMG Sociopath. The abilities of the build look like this. Your first card being Overdog, which if you're surrounded by 3 or more enemies, you will receive a 12% damage reduction. Now, your 1 second each melee hit will deal 10 times the damage as normal damage. What this means is that if you hit one melee and then immediately hit another one within a 1 second time frame, you will be granted a times 10 melee damage. Now, this is unlimited. It's every time that you're able to hit a melee within a 1 second time frame, you are granted this damage output. Tension. Killing an enemy will regenerate 30 armor. This can only occur every 1 second. So what this means is that the initial kill that you get will grant you 30 armor, and then 1 second later you'll be granted another 30 armor if you were to get another kill in that 1 second time frame. Now, you also gain a 10% armor increase on this card. The next ability is Clean Hit. Killing an enemy with a melee weapon will regenerate 10% of your health. Now, this can only occur every 1 second. Initially, when you kill somebody, it will grant you the 10% HP, and then 1 second later, if you kill another person with a melee, it'll grant you another 10% HP. Now, if you're within medium range and enemies are targeting you, you will receive 8% less damage as the last part of this card. So if you take the 12% from Overdog and now you have 8% from Clean Hit, you're getting a 20% damage reduction naturally inside the perk deck. Overdose. Killing an enemy at medium range will actually grant you an extra 30 armor regen. And now this can only happen under the 1 second time frame as well. So if you already have 30 armor regen, and if you get a medium ranged kill, you get an extra 30 armor regen. Every kill at medium range will grant you 60 armor regen, which is a big chunk of armor. Now considering that the perk deck already has damage reduction, your 60 armor regen will always tank light unit damage. The second part of the card here is an extra 10% armor increase, putting you at 255 armor in total. The last ability in the deck, Showdown. Killing an enemy at medium range has a 75% chance to spread panic amongst the enemies. Panic will make the enemies go into short bursts of uncontrollable fear, initially not being able to deal damage to the player or the teammates. This can only occur every 1 second, so therefore everything in the deck is basically working around a 1 second time frame. And if the Sociopath can consistently trigger the panic, then teammates and yourself will be taking less damage overall.
Like you can easily manage 3-shot armor. While the third shot is only like a little bit of armor left, you're still able to manage 3-shot. And then at the same time, you're able to manage 3-shot with just regenerating 60 armor, like with just getting a kill. Yo, what's up, Jerry?
The LMG Sociopath build is a very aggressive build and should be playing in the role of a DPS situation. While this build does have insane armor regen to compare it to something like the Anarchist, it doesn't necessarily have invincibility for 2 seconds, so therefore you have to play a little more cautious. Now since you are Sociopath here, you do have insane melee damage, so bosses on certain maps, or maybe minigun dozers, or any dozers in the fact of matter, the Sociopath should be on top of it each and every time. And it's usually just the way that you approach the situation. You're easily able to kill any dozer that comes in front of you. You just need to, eliminate the light units or the heavy units that are around him, eliminate everything else, and then deal with the dozer. Inside this build here, you're going to do a lot of fighting, and then before you move, you're going to have to make sure certain angles are taken care of. The more you kill in this build, the more you'll be rewarded with the panic trigger. The panic trigger, once again, is initially you taking no damage whatsoever, and then the same goes for your team. If you're triggering panic continuously on cops, then therefore your teammates will not be taking damage as well. I'd be mostly using this build in close to medium range situations, since the build does bring things to the table for medium range things like damage reduction or extra armor regen, or even panic in medium range situations. This build will play the best in that situation. Now with that being said, it doesn't mean it can't use long-ranged, weaponry. It has a, crank-off secondary with 100 accuracy that can hit things across the map and still provide great damage because of Zerk. Now our KSP on the other hand is mostly for our crowd control capabilities and gunning down pretty much every enemy on the map. Now as I had just mentioned, the Krinkhoff is used more for, ranged weaponry, but at the same time our Krinkhoff is extremely good at taking dozers out if we are unallowed to be able to run up to them and knife them. Because sometimes if you're trying to run up and knife them, there's, an angle seeing you, or there's some form of position that you didn't realize, and those heavy units are going to kill you when you start pushing that dozer. Also, lastly, this build does have 3-shot armor, and it's from the 20% inside the build. I grab another 25% from Frenzy, I grab a 10% from Underdog, and then with all that damage reduction, I'm allowed to have 3-shot armor. Now there's a second method used inside the same build here, and it's just regenning myself 60 armor after I take the first initial shot of 225 damage.
The only thing we're missing is the gnome.
Let's get into the skills for the Sociopath build. We start with grabbing ourselves cable ties and some stability stack up with aiming down the sight speed, which is then followed up by Underdog Aced and having Iron Man Ace so that we can have 3-shot armor. We do follow that with Shock and Awe and Resilience and Bullseye. Inside the Technician skill tree, we grab some extra stability stack up, some hip firing accuracy stack up, and then we go for Surefire Aced, Lock and Load Aced, and some body expertise to make our LMG hit really hard. Then we go to Ghost to get the sprint skills. Since we are inside the ICTB, it helps a lot. We go ahead and we grab Suppressor, Accuracy and Stability stack up, we grab Optical Illusions, High Value Target, and we grab crits on the side of our LMG. So pairing Body Expertise with Unseen Strike, we are able to just annihilate the crowd of enemies. Lastly, we followed up with Frenzy Aced and then all the melee skills, so Bloodthirst, Pumping Iron, Berserker. Pairing all this with the melee damage that the Sociopath already gives, that's how we're able to kill dozers. Now let's show you the guns that we're using. We start off by going with the long barrel and the KSP for the accuracy stability increase, which is then followed by the bigger the better suppressor for the same accuracy stability increase. We go for the bipod here because why not? And then for the boost, we go for a stability increase so that our LMG has no recoil. We do not go for the railed foregrip. Yes, I understand that it does give a damage increase, but the stability minus is just too great, which is then followed by the LED combo for stability, and then we finish it off with the solid stock for stability once again. You can switch the stock to whatever you like. We start the Krinkhoff off with the bigger the better suppressor for accuracy and stability increase. It is then followed by an accuracy increase so that we can hit our range shots. We do not lock the gun to any type of fire rate since it does give some type of negative effect. We do put this rail on because if we don't, then the sight is really far up on the gun and it's hard to see. We follow it with the LED combo for the stability increase. Then we grab the plastic AK grip, which does minus stability, but we still keep 100 stability. This part is optional. I put the fast mag, alternatively you could put the quad stack. Now this is optional once again. I go for the Seymour sight just because I personally like the Seymour sight. You could choose absolutely any of them. We follow it with the AK solid stock because it gives us quite a bit of stability stack up. Here are some tips for the Sociopath build. Firstly, I want to go over some of the math for the 225 damage to your 255 armor, allowing you to have 3-shot armor. So once again, the perk deck gives you a 12% damage reduction on the first card, and then another card that follows gives you another 8%, so the perk deck initially has 20% damage reduction. Then we follow it with Frenzy 25%, so technically speaking, around 45%. And if we're going to add a 10% from Underdog, yes, the game doesn't exactly give you, exactly what it shows, so we're roughly going to give ourselves around a 53% damage reduction. So with 53% damage reduction being taken away from 225, you're left over with 105.75 damage, so initially 106 damage value. So if you were to take 255 minus 106 2 times, you're still left over with a small amount of armor to get shot a 3rd time. And now here's the math behind it. 255 minus 106 equals 149. 149 minus another 106 leaves you with 43. 43 armor minus another 106 will leave you left over with 0, meaning you have 3-shot armor. The other way of getting 3-shot armor in this build is actually by getting the 60 armor regen from the kill, and I will explain with the math here now. We're going to be using roughly 36% damage reduction for this example, and then after this we'll use the example of the 53% damage reduction. So 255 minus 144 leaves us left over with 111 armor. 111 armor plus the 60 armor regen from the kill leaves us left over with 171. If you were to get shot by another 144, your 171 will still have armor left over, therefore making a 3-shot armor. Now for the 53% damage reduction. If you have 255 armor that gets hit by 106 damage, you're left over with 149. If you get one kill, which gives you 60 armor regen, you get left with 209 armor, which once again, you'll be able to get shot at least 2 more times, and then your armor breaks, making a 3-shot armor build. And I just want to go ahead and mention that if you ace out Bullseye in this build, you'll have the same effect of being able to get a kill, because that 25 armor regen is going to drastically increase the amount of armor that you're getting per kill and per time that you hit a bullseye. And you're only missing out on 5 armor, really, because if it was just the perk deck giving it to you, you would have had a 30 plus 30 giving you 60 armor. If you were to just get a normal kill plus a bullseye aced, you'd be given 55 armor instead of 60. So initially, if you were to just tally it up like that, with bullseye, you're still capable of getting 3-shot armor. Lastly, if you get 60 armor regen and a 25 armor regen from Bullseye, you can get a whopping total of 85 armor regen per second practically. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please leave me a like, comment, maybe even sub to me if you really did enjoy the video. If there's something that you learned, maybe like the 3-shot armor or maybe some of the armor regens, please leave it in the comment section, because I love to know what you guys have learned from the video, because I do put quite a bit of effort into these videos so that you guys do learn something. And for those who have been watching my full-length videos, you guys have been being rewarded with codes for my mask inside the videos. And recently I've been dropping them inside of all my weekly videos, and I'm going to be releasing them inside of all my big projects. So don't miss them.